Okay, 40 seconds in and it's not dropping frames, so I'm hoping this is gonna stay this way. Um, what are we gonna talk about? Let me just see. I'm not showing any drop frames on this end, so I'm hoping that it stays this way for a bit. It's only showing uploaded like 361 kilobyte per second, so it should stay on pretty good. I mean, it's been green for a while, so I'm hoping things are good. Um, is it coming through okay now? I wonder if I should wait because it's sort of 5:30. I should have to wait for the quality to go up. Okay, let's just move on and see if it actually catches up or something or whatever you call it. Figure like it is what it is. I can't really do much about it. Maybe it's time to get that fiber. I mean, I got a few guys come by and offer me to give me fiber to the house, and I maybe I should take up on that offer. See if yeah, I'm trying to still think. It's like basically it's doing it's green on my end, and it's actually doing seven. It should be doing 720. It once it gets stable. So um, let's just get started. Like I said, so I guess the bit of news that we were looking at before was the Dryland Q carriage for the X axis. Um, so basically, the idea is I gotta bring it back to FaceTime again. This so um, Dryland Q, I guess it's a basically it's a big block going through a 2020 extrusion. And the idea is that the block itself has grooves for the T nuts, like the rail, and basically you're able to mount stuff to it, and it runs on a 2020 rail. So the idea is that we're going to put it across the gantry, and the hot end is going to mount right here, and it slides back and forth. And it's the I just got this maybe 2 days ago from the in the mail, and basically what they say is that it's different than linear rails. Is that it doesn't torque. It's not affected by torque. So basically, even if I twist it like this, it still slides. Um, so it's not affected by torque. It runs better when it's not torqued, but and I'm putting quite a bit of force on it. It still runs pretty smoothly. So the idea is that if you're hanging something off of it, like um, let's say this 2-into-1 hot end, you basically end up getting a mount to mount it like that, and it goes back and forth on the gantry. And because it has mounting rails, you can actually print the part to mount this onto here and not have to worry about making all sorts of brackets and stuff like that. Um, it does cost quite a bit of money. I mean, compared to printing your own. I mean, this is um, 65 $70 US for a 2020 version, and then you need a 2020 rail, of course. Like 2020 rail is fairly cheap. I mean, it's like six. This I think it was like $7-8 for the black, regular rigidity. 2020 is fairly cheap, and you get basically on the gantry. Back there is 500 millimeter, and this will slide right across. So I'm looking at this as an option. Um, the the other one I'm looking at is the 12 millimeter version of this. Um, let me just get this pushed in here. They give you a block that locks the little fillets in place. There's these little fingers inside. That's what slides on. And those fingers, if you don't use this block to hold them, they end up flopping all over the place inside, and you won't be able to get the rail back in there. So basically, on all sides is got the IGS material on both ends, and these little knobbies here are for adjustment of those IGS material. It's fairly good. I mean, like overall, I mean, I'm happy with this carriage. The only downside, like I said, mentioned in the last stream, is um, on the bigger block. This is a 2020. There's one side with two rails, and then you could tell from the side profile has one rail here, and one rail on the bottom. I would really like to have two rails so that I could mount them vertically, like this way. So I think the 12 millimeter version actually has two rails on both sides and one rail on top and bottom. So I actually prefer that mounting method a little bit better, but this is a little bit heftier. So if we were using this for heavier gantry parts, this is probably a better example of the part. Um, I'm gonna work on the how to mount the extruder onto here. Um, I think the guys are asking for direct drive. This will more than handle direct drive. Is pretty hefty on the 2020 rail, so I think for direct drive is good. That's one thing nice about the design is that we're open to different options, right? Like let me see if I can bring up the gantry. You could have a look. Um, the gantry, I have parts for both the 12 millimeter and 2020. So, let's say for the Bolden guys, they could actually go with the. Do I have it? I think I don't know if I have it. Um, what type of parts? Maybe. Let's have a look. So for the Bolden guys, they could go with the 12 millimeter version, and for the um, for the direct drive guys, they go to 2020, so you get a little bit better um, weight distribution on the carriage. So let me bring up the 12 millimeter version and the 2020 version. That I can show you guys in a second. Okay, let's bring this. So this is the back display capture. This is the 2020 version. Like I showed you guys just now, has two rails on top, one rail on the side, and one rail on the bottom. And this is the one I've been showing you guys. So the 12 millimeter, this is the 12 millimeter version. So you can see the difference is you got two rails on top, two rails on the bottom, and then two rails on the side. You can actually rotate this. There's no orientation to it. So um, if we were to give it a good rotation here. I'm never gonna get this in my there we go, like that. So if we actually rotate it like that, this could be the two side profiles, and then you have an offset rail on this end. So It gives him a bit more versatility on the usage of this. So I requested a 12 millimeter version. Um, the they I ordered, like I said, I ordered the 12 millimeter version as well as the 2020 version. I'm gonna try both, see which one works out better. Um, so that's the gantry update. Basically, is to use the IGES block to see if I give it a workout okay. Um, oh yeah, we could show the difference here. So this is the 2020 block. I think I have a picture of the comparison to 12 millimeter block here. So that's the size comparison. So um, that's this one here. Okay, and then this is the 12 millimeter version. It's significantly smaller in terms of the overall heft of it, but it's still a fairly robust carriage. So the one thing is that you can notice is that it gets a little bit shorter and in height and a little bit shorter in width. So that allows the carriage to travel more on the Y, so you get a little bit more Y, and then the Z you could actually mount the extruder a little higher, so you get a little bit um, more space there. So um, you probably see which one works out. I mean, like I said, there we go. Zoom back. Um, we'll try both, see which one works. In terms of the vertical profile, it's not really that bad. It's about the same. It's only short about like 10, 15 millimeters. So I think either way will work. It is that the 12 millimeter would work out a little bit better in terms of clearance. And also because the 12 millimeter um, will work with these belt holes, because these belt holes right now, if I turn the profile this way, you'll see that um, this belt doesn't clear this block. Um, so I had to make an extended wide version of the XY joiner. So that means that you get a little bit less Y travel as well, because I have to compensate for the fat carriage. Um, if I were to use the 12 millimeter, this design actually works well. So um, overall, I think I'll make that decision once I get the 12 millimeter and actually play around with it. So the plan is I should have it by the end of the week, and then I'll have it wired up, moving on XY by next week. Then I can see which one actually works out a bit better. Luckily, um, I this was a engineer sample, so I'm not really out anything. If I didn't want to use it, I just send it back to them, and then they could pass it on to the next guy. I don't really want to waste anything, so if I can't use it, I'll let somebody else try it. Maybe they could use it. The other thing is the 12 millimeter. We can actually retrofit onto the Haribo, because we could use it for um, the XN. We could replace that, so that comes in handy as well, because that'll fit right in on that. Just had to make the new XNs to hold the 12 millimeter bar. So that'd be interesting if I actually go back and do some work on that. Um, I've been printing these cats. I think I'll show you guys. On the This is like I finally got the Esun PLA sort of dialed in. You can see how shiny this is. It's been pretty good on the printing so far. So um, yeah, I've been printing them like crazy over there. So I want to show you guys this one. It's printing the blue one right now, and then I got the gray one. So I've been printing a lot of these. Um, yeah, not much. I think, yeah, Chris, I think you missed one stream. I think on, was it Sunday or Saturday or, or Friday? I forgot. Basically, a few days ago, you missed the stream, but basically, yeah, this is just a recap of what we talked about. Um, I sent the. Let me just go back here. So I did send the idler, um, the idler mount and the motor mount over the dongle, and he printed them out for test fitment on the 6060, and said it fit pretty well. Basically, this edge here, I had designed this edge, zoomed in here, this edge to sort of sit right at the edge of the groove of the 6060 where the wall comes down. So I use every single millimeter of that space in order to offset the motor from the inside of the I guess I should do this plate capture. Okay, that's a better. I think I'll show that one better. So this edge was right up against the edge of the extrusion wall, and I offsetted the motor as much as possible outside of the print envelope. So we maximize the internal space of the printer, and I think the next thing to do is once I decide on the 2020 or the 12 millimeter, or maybe I'll put both versions up because it let you guys choose which one you want to use. I think that this, like the fat carriage for the 2020, and then the thin carriage for the skinny carriage for the 12 millimeter. We could play around with both and see which one um, comes up there. So the uh, oh, so we did confirm that for some reason the GFS, which is the high rigidity 3030, the machine surface one was actually way cheaper than the HFS one, the normal rigidity. So I'm gonna put up a link later on in the description. If you're gonna build a Haribo Cube, I would suggest you buy at least four. You only need two, but buy at least four because it's a good deal of the GFS with the mill surface. And I think it worked out to be that $10 a piece, which is a killer deal for milled surface 3030. Just pick up four of them, so before they correct the price on them, and then you have them for usage for the printer later if you're going to build one. Um, I checked again the other day, and it's still at less than $10 each. So that length is not going to change all that much. So uh, actually, it won't change at all because we decided on 500. So get the 500 millimeter version. I'll get the link to you guys later, and then you could go and get that. So like not much action on the model front, other than the Y carriage, which is this one here. So you had to significantly make this part fatter so that it offsetted the bearing holders, so that it clears this edge. You can see that that edge is now the belt will come through and be right exit right at the edge of this piece. But what that means is that we did lose about, I think it's wider by about 20 millimeters. So we lost about 20 millimeter wide travel because the carriage is wider. So we got to see if that really affects stuff all that much, because we did gain back a whole whackload of Z space. So um, now that we can mount, we don't have to worry about the cross rod and having the extruder hang low. We can actually put it right above the axes. We gain back probably a good 40 millimeter on Z. So it's trade off. I mean, we got to play around with the XYZ and see which trade off we want to gonna go with. I think that's it for Fusion 360. I mean, I don't really have much else to show. The carriage was there. I think I showed this last time on the last stream as well. Is the belt welding diagram. So I shared with these guys last time was how I came up with the belt welding. You can see how it gets highlighted the belt routing and how it works and so on. Was using this as a three-dimensional map on how to make the joiners and stuff like that. So showing you guys this last time, so nothing new there. Um, let's go shopping because I think that was one thing that we want to go with is we made miss last time was shopping online. So um, these are the flange bearings that I have here. Um, the flange bearings that you use for the belt routing for the printer. This is a pretty good deal, 20 pieces, which is you only need one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. You probably need about 16 to 20. So this is a really good deal. I'm probably gonna pick up some myself. It's $7.79. It's 40% off. Free shipping. 3 days left. So um, like anything else, what I suggest is that um, you go for e-packet. Yeah, I know. So I gotta send the stream notification out earlier. Um, suggest that people use e-packet now because the China Post is 39 to 59 days, but for $1.78 more, you get e-packet, which is um, 16 to 26 days. So for $1.78 to Canada, it might be a little different for you guys, but for $1.78, that works out to what, $10 total for 20 flange bearings that you're gonna need for the printer. I would probably pick just for that. I'll probably pick up two, um, and then they have them sent by e-packet, which is gonna cost you still cost you $1.78. So buy two packs, 40 flange bearings for $16. So yeah, always go with e-packet if they have it. And Micromake, I have been dealing with this guy, like this store for a while, and they've been pretty good. I mean, they've been haven't really been messing around with me too much. Um, I want to address a question we had the other day of why on the heat on the Haribo 3030 we were using flange bearings instead of the idler that like the stock idler. The difference is let me see if I have. Give me a second. Let me see if I have a idler. Hang on. Unfortunately, I don't have an idler, but we could go and look for one. So let's just go. Okay, there we go. So I could tell you guys what the difference is. Okay, let's bring up this one. Okay, so this one, this one. Okay, so let me grab one of the other bearings. Okay, see with the oh, come on, stay still. Okay, um, with the idler pulley, the bearing itself is this middle part here, this circle. Okay, this black circle, and that's the I um the ID of that the inner diameter of that circle is M3. So this is roughly M4 on the, like 4 millimeter on the outside. So the bearing itself is only 1 millimeter outside of the M3 circle. So over time, that tiny bearing is gonna get worn down. It's not really meant for long-term use when you're using it that way. Um, the These bearings, on the other hand, um, now we get this entire outside area here with the metal outside is a bearing. So that whole thing, this whole thing here, let's see, FaceTime. This whole thing is a bearing, and the the surface of it, like the where the balls are and stuff like that, is significantly bigger than the idler ones you're gonna get. So um, these are worth the use. There's using two of these back to back as the idler. The other thing is that you could shim it in between, put a washer in between, and they will rotate independently. So if the belt is slightly misaligned or crap, of course now we can. I was saying that the two flange bearings will rotate way better than a single idler pulley. It allows a little bit of leeway on the belt routing and stuff like that. And two of them back to back is exactly, two of them back to back with the wash in between is exactly the width of the belt. So it actually works out really well. It's a trick that we picked up from the Delta days, so it works really well. So I think this one definitely a buy at 779. I'll leave the link in the description later. Compared to these guys, I mean 10 of these for 879, that about the same, but they will last way longer on the flange bearings than on the idler. The other one is, I'll bring this up here. I know I normally don't talk about other printers, but this is an awesome deal. If you were looking for CR10, this one 388.895 Canadian snow pesos, uh, $46 shipping. Again, Canadian snow pesos, so roughly 420, 430. So what's the 430 Canadian to US dollar these days? 340. So ANET E10 CL10 knockoff basically for, what did I say it was? 340. Shipped to your door, 340. That's, you're not gonna get any cheaper than that. And the the nice thing about it is that the right now it's on sale between July 23rd and July 26th. This it was shipped. Sorry, it was shipped to July 23rd and 26th. Awesome deal. If you want a CL10, this is the ANET E10, the knockoff. I'll put the link. Nothing to do with me, no affiliate link, nothing. I just saw it. It's 18% off. If you get it for the parts, I think it's worth it. So get it. What else we can talk about? Keep stepping away. Yeah. I think I mentioned this last time. Filament.ca per filament. You guys could still use that 10% off link for filament.ca. Still my favorite filament to use. I think My favorite color from them is still gotta be the jade, the dark sea green. Um, John's been using this for his Haribo on black. It looks freaking awesome on black. Um, the camera doesn't really show justice, but it goes so well with black. If you're gonna build a Haribo black, that's the color to use. This one. Um, what else did I buy these days? Let me just bring up see what else I bought these days. Um, just in case anybody's wondering, my dad's been great. He's been out fishing a few times, caught a few bass. Really happy. So thanks for the you guys asking how he is and so like that. He's been great. Feeling a lot better. No issues whatsoever. So hopefully knock on wood it stays that way. Um, let's see. I got these motors. I think I mentioned this last time. NEMA 17 pancake motors, 5 of them for 35.71. Again, they don't. The only problem is that they don't offer e-packet, but for 14.98, which is like $15, you get 7 to 15 days FedEx, which well, I guess I showed this one. Uh, yeah, these 5 motors. Where was it? Gave it a box, and fairly small. The quality's been pretty good. I looked at it. The quality's pretty good. Detachable plug. Comes with a whole bunch of cables. For the $35 for 5 is really no brainer. I mean, these will be good um for pretty much any of the builds you're gonna do. I mean, it has enough torque for what we're gonna do. So I've been happy with it. So far with the look and feel of it. I just have to still wire it up, but for $35 for 5, you really can't go wrong with that deal. Like the um, comes in a box. Like I said, those wires, those detachable DuPont wires. Um, Looks like they've been packing them pretty good. I got 2 sets, and they both sets came in the same kind of box. So um, I I was going to use those originally for the cube because we're using 2 at a time. I do have the larger ones. I guess you can't really see. I had to have the larger one, so um, I have to try. I will try both types, see which one works. Minimal, I think that would be minimal, the pancake style. But I was gonna see if I could get away with those, so I don't have to buy new ones. Because otherwise, I have to buy these black ones, these new ones. So I'll see from testing what was gonna be. The only thing holding me back right now for testing is I'm missing the 500 millimeter 2020, and then I'm waiting for them to send me 12 millimeter, 500 millimeter rail with the carriage. Then once I do that, what I'll do is I won't bother with the extruder mount. I'm just gonna model a belt holder tensioner thing, and then run all the wires to the carriage. Then I could wire up the motors and run the XY core XY kinematics and make sure that works out okay. Once that is firm and we're okay with that, then I could see how much weight we're moving, and then I could calculate whether or not we use the larger or the smaller motor. But the thing is that with the nice thing about the smaller motors is that I guess it's cheaper, and then we could probably push them up, push the mount a little bit, so like not make them as high, so we could kind of use some of that space. So we'll see how it happens. Um, I will try to get this to work though. The 2-in-1. I think I saw this on the stream last time too. It's 2-in-1 into a E3D style heat block. But they use the old style the Mister mount. So I'm probably gonna end up dismantling this and see what's inside anyway, and then replacing this block with the actual E3D nozzle and block and the thermistor, and see if there's this the standard heat break. If it's a standard E3D heat break, then probably replace the heat break too. But this has promise. This is promising. I've seen the video of this running a few times, and um, it looks like it will work pretty well. I mean, they basically they say we track 40 to 45 millimeter out of the hot zone, and then push 46 into the from the other end, and you basically get a color change. So um, hopefully, like with running two different independent motors with the uh, with Aztec X, the Pro, I probably run both motors at the same time instead of trying to multiplex it. They should run a little bit better, and it's fairly small and light, so I might try that. The other one on the list to try is um, the Arrow. I think last time Dynamon mentioned the Arrow or the Titan. So I might look at the Arrow because you can mount the Arrow sideways so that the fan is left right instead of forward back. Mainly because if it's forward back, the problem I see is that the rail blocks the airflow. So I want to make it left right. Looking at belt-driven Z lift. I was, but oh crap, jeez. Belt-driven set lift. I was looking at belt-driven set lift. The only issue we have with the belt-driven set lift is we need a brake on the stepper. So when the stepper is not powered, we have to have the brake so that it doesn't the the Z carriage doesn't just fall. Second choice, if I don't use a brick on the uh, if I don't use the brick on the stepper, I have to use a worm screw. So the idea is that the the belt runs this way up to the top, and this is a worm screw, and then I have um, the stepper turning the worm screw. So it's 90 degrees perpendicular to each other, and it'll act as a natural brake. So um, I think there's examples of it online. Let me just have a look. Okay. Um, I'll find an example. I saw it the other day. The only issue with using a worm gear setup for the worm gear uh, for no, not for, it was a D-bot. It was a worm gear D-bot. So um, I'll find it later and I'll send it back to you guys later. Oh, belt-driven screws. I really need to complain to the ISP about this. This is totally unacceptable. Um, the what was I saying? The belt-driven three three screw platform is slightly different than a belt lift, right? So you know what is easier is I'll model it and then I will show it on the next stream, because the idea is that we have three spots where we lift the Z platform, and then those three spots are held together by one continuous belt, and then one of those spots has hooked up to the stepper, and that way is we have a synchronized lift. Instead of having three motors to synchronize, we only have one motor, and it'll lift all three, and we get a pretty hefty motor to do that job, and then we don't have to be fast because the Z moves fairly slow, so we need torque more than we need speed, so we could get a bigger motor with more torque to run that. Let me model that out and then see, because that's gonna be a little bit more. Um, that's gonna be a little bit more involved. Yeah, it's like indirectly drive this, and it'd be like a contraption that's gonna be like totally messed up. Um, I I I think um, the Z would be fairly easy to model out. I just really want to get that whole gantry out of the way because I know that um, that's going to be more important to get that out the door to you guys so that um, like I want to get the XY core XY movement out to you guys to test so that you guys can tell me if I mess something up. So um, I I really want to get out of the way. That printer over there, Haribo Zero, broken printer sensor. Um, it lights up metal on the end, turns it off, but somewhere in between there's a break because when it goes down to a certain spot, on spot two, it doesn't read it, and I can't for the life of me figure out what's wrong with it. Luckily, I had a spare, and I cannot see where the break is, and I cannot feel it. So not worth my time to try to figure it out. But yeah, make sure you get spares because luckily I had a spare laying around. Otherwise, I'd be out for another 2 weeks and pay like $200 or whatever for another and shipping for another pin there. So kind of pissed that they only sell two at a time because I would buy like five or six just to have it around, but they don't. So that's unfortunate. I'm gonna call the ISP, I think, because um, having this many drop frames is not acceptable. I mean, for you guys to see not see the stream is not acceptable. So I'm gonna call them up and figure out what's wrong with it. Last time they gave me some diagnostic and see maybe there's some modem issue. So um, I'll keep you guys updated on that. So today's Wednesday. Shooting for Saturday morning stream after breakfast, Eastern Standard Time, so that the European guys could catch it again early. They shouldn't use potted wires. I don't know. Like what I don't know what the issue is. Last time like one of the channels on the cable modem. There's 8 channels apparently. One of the channels was like so noisy that it was off the charts, and that caused all sorts of issues. So they had to come and reset the some hardware switch outside. They had to actually take it out and replace it. Um, hopefully, they will have that fixed. If not, I'm gonna go call up the other guy and see if I can get the fiber optics in here, and then don't have to deal with that. Um, yeah, I apologize, to especially to Donald because I know he's waiting for me to finish. I was a little bit, um, I was a little bit optimistic about end of July for Alpha. I think we'll probably push it back 2 weeks. Let's say beginning of August. I think be ready for Alpha. I'm gonna blame the fact that I switched from the Cross Rod to Core XY. Spent 2 weeks on that, so that's the 2 week delay. But I'll get those out so that, like I said, get those parts out so that they could get tested, and then we could go from there, and then hopefully have a little bit more progress on the next stream. I'm switching using the headset because it's printing and I don't want the big mic to pick up all the noise. So hopefully this is working. And the stream stopped again. So I think that's the sign. We're gonna go. My dad said the breakfast is ready. Filament.ca, yeah? I didn't even know this. I'm not familiar. I'm not affiliated with these guys. Just I use a lot of this stuff in boxes all over the place. Okay. I'll catch you guys on Saturday. I know you guys are not gonna be up that early because the on the west side, there's like 3 hour difference. I don't expect you guys get up. Review it when you get up, and then I'll just do it for the European guys, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So thanks for tuning in. Um, catch you guys on Saturday. You'll always find me on Matimo's chat. Just hit me up if you have any questions. If you have any suggestions and anything like that, hit me up or do the comments. And one of these days, I gotta stop with these cats. Okay, see you guys.